You guys know the old expression from the Matrix, there's a splinter in your mind and there's something wrong with reality and you don't quite know what it is. Well, all of us have had a kind of a splinter in our reality ever since Chiron entered into the sign of Aries way back in 2019, February. And there's a really beautiful sky in this week ahead that is attempting to kind of clear us of the splinter in the mind, the splinter in our life that no longer serves us. And where Chiron has been traveling, your Aries whole sign sky is coming into a beautiful solution for you. And why I say that is because this week ahead, the sun forms a beautiful trine to Chiron and Aries as it moves through the late degrees of Leo. And it opens up the Panacea asteroid co-joined with the sun. Now, Panacea can be like the cure-all, the remedy that's going to fix everything, but it also means a solution. Okay, a panacea is a way to remedy something. And so I'm going to go ahead for your sign this week and talk about how on August the 18th to the 24th, there's something that wants to completely solution oriented have a healing in your life. You've got a solution to the problem. Thank you, Sun and Panacea flowing back to Chiron. So if you're looking for a solution to something that's been quite off kilter for the last few years, ever since 2019, this might be a great week for that. You also have a week ahead, everybody, where, action and drive and ambition meet Mercury in a great flow through to the end of this week until Friday. It started off last week on Thursday. So this is like really giving us a lot of, that thing that's really hard to do, that you really don't want to do, that your mind and your energy and your body and everybody has to get together and do the thing. You have the ability to do the thing. And so there's a lot of ambitious achievement, flow, go-getter. Thank you, Mars. Thank you, Mercury in Leo. Mars is participating from Libra, working together to get shit done, to say it simply. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lori Lothian. I am using the Western Tropical Zodiac whole sign houses, and of course, those fixed stars and minor asteroids. I know I look a little blurry. I'm traveling and I'm in a place without a ring light and I'm getting a new computer. So I know I look blurry to myself. I probably look blurry to you. But nonetheless, as I record this for you on August 17th, released on the 18th, I am doing my very best on the road. One thing I want to say about the sky as well is that we have the sun with these asteroids like Panacea and also Sisyphus, rolling the boulder up the hill and it keeps falling back, where you put a lot of effort into something, you don't get any traction. Okay. Feels like the rug gets pulled out from underneath you as you keep pushing and pushing for success. That asteroid Sisyphus is also sitting with the sun, but just behind the sun. So it's like the end of that feeling where you've been pushing uphill, like let's say last week to get something accomplished and nothing ever really felt easy. If that happened to you at all last week, that's something to consider that is changing, as well as the asteroid Praamzius, which represents the elements that are fated and one must surrender to the fates, etc. One thing I think about when I think of planets in the late degrees of Leo is I think of late degree Leo folks, and I'm just going to not do a lot of world astrology. This is your all signs delineation today. But if I think about who has strong Leo placements that are going to be impacted, well, Zelensky, the head guy of Ukraine, has his Saturn at 28 degrees of Leo, where the sun will be tracking this week, not to mention his moon behind us at 16 Leo, and even his Mars at 0 Leo. He's a highly Leo-dominated energy, especially because the moon is also halfway through Leo when he was born. And so the Leo qualities that belong to Vladimir Zelensky are highly active. I'm sorry, I just froze. I hear there's some satellites out today from a huge solar storm. Could be that. The second thing I want to say is Donald Trump, of course, has his ascendant and Mars, 26 Leo, 29 Leo. So we get lots of their stories going. And we also have, one of the charts for Iran has a Leo rising 17 degrees. So keep your eye on those Leo stories for Leo people, places, and things with Mercury and Leo. We are experiencing Mercury as the messenger of the gods and the news guy. You'll expect news stories about those people. As I record on the 17th of August, I heard through the grapevine, I've been busy recording videos and relaxing, that apparently after Putin and Trump come through this meeting, the announcements are coming out like Trump is aligning with Putin, and yes, no temporary ceasefire, which puts Zelensky in a tough spot, of course. And, I feel bad for the guy. He got played, on this situation with this war, convinced that if you push through, his Western allies would support him. And also, it's complicated. There's a lot going on there we can't even talk about here. I'm not bothering to tell you my political historical research. But I will say that I could expect this week ahead to involve some major announcements regarding the situation with Russia, Ukraine, and Zelensky is looking down, like he's going down the tubes. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist, honestly, and I'm not a rocket scientist, to say that Zelensky's headed into really turbulent water and will fall from his significant heights of power. One way I can say that for Zelensky, there's different ways to talk about him, but there's something I wanted to mention about him. He has a sun at 5 degrees of Aquarius, and Pluto is bearing down on his sun in the next 2 years, and that's going to be highly transformational. He'll look nothing like the same thing if he survives the transit in the next 2 or 3 years. And also, Ukraine itself has a pretty accurate natal chart. I froze again. And in Ukraine's natal chart, I have 5 bars of internet. In Ukraine's natal chart, it's a Cap rising, but that's not what I wanted to focus on. Ukraine's natal chart is such that it has a 0 degree Virgo sun, and we have the South Node moving through the sign of Virgo, getting closer and closer and closer and closer to South Node dissolution, surrender, let go. And also there is at 25 degrees of Virgo for, I think it's Ukraine, but it could be Zelensky. I have to go back and check. But let me remember who it is. No, of course not. It is Ukraine. In Ukraine's chart, the Mars position is at 25 degrees of Virgo, which is the September eclipse. So Mars is where we go to fight. South Node is where we lose. And so with Virgo, South Node, Mars eclipse hitting Ukraine, Ukraine's not going to win this war in terms of whatever winning means. Okay, and that eclipse is coming up in September 21st. So I'm just announcing the astrology. I'm not taking a political position here. You don't have to worry about that. This is just astrological delineation. I notice that this is freezing. I'm hoping the recording sound is consistent. I'm out in the woods in the middle of nowhere in Washington State on a vacation. And so I'm hoping that we get continuous sound, even if I am freezing on the camera. I don't know. My internet says I'm doing fine. Did I introduce myself at all to you guys? Hey, well, hi, I'm Lori Lothian. I'm a Western tropical zodiac astrologer using whole sign houses, fixed stars, and minor asteroids. I love astrology. I've been doing this for years, but it is my special interest. Wink, wink, for those of you who know what neurodivergent types know what I'm talking about. If you are listening today for your, and by the way, I teach classes. My Sky Reader class is coming up in this month of September on the 27th to November 1st. It's a 6-week Saturday, every Saturday live, weekly Q&As, 4 bonus module courses by other astrologers class. I'm so excited to teach it for the 6th time. We have a lot of people waiting on the wait list for the announcement. The shopping cart is open, so to speak. It'll be open as soon as I get my act together and figure out how to get this whole platform transferred to Thinkific. But it'll probably be open by the 24th of August. So if you want to come aboard, and it's not open and you're hearing this video, go to the description box underneath the video and you'll see that there is an early bird discount code wait list, and you'll be notified when the enrollment card opens, and you get to use a 20% discount code. And you can read about the course also, the general gist of the course with the same links down below. So go check it out. Love to see you in Sky Reader this September. It'd be really fun to have you guys there, whoever you are. This is a jumpstart into timing your best life, understanding how to read your chart, sky read it, using ancient and simple timing tools to get with the rhythm and flow of life and to move towards your best life. It's called Sky Reader. Be your own astrologer. Time your best life. All right. If I freeze one more time, I'm not kidding you. That is bad. I want to make sure there's nothing running on the back end of my computer that could be interfering, because I'm waiting for my brand new computer to arrive, and this baby is like a glacially slow kind of beast of an older computer at this point. All right. So I've exited stuff. Let's go ahead and do your sign. Let me show you the sky. So let's bring us over to the sky so we can all see what it looks like. And as you can see here, we have, it just happens to be Scorpio rising right now, but we're going to just show you what I'm talking about. There's the sun on Monday, and it's moved to 26 degrees of Leo. That's right on Donald Trump's Mars, right? Win-win, lose-lose. Maybe this is a win for him on this whole idea of Sunday, Monday, and the Putin meeting over the war in Russia. And here he has, in Ukraine, 26 degrees sun. And we're all feeling this on Monday, okay? And that sun happens to be getting ready to dock with Chiron on Tuesday. This is indicating that solution there is Panacea, right? The solution to something that's wrong, that ails us, can be the remedy appears, or the remedy is known, or the remedy is found by each of us relative to the Aries and the Leo parts of our sky. And that's what I'm going to delineate for you guys, because this doesn't just happen on Monday. The sun will still be in the sign of Leo until Friday. And so Monday to Friday, looking for that solution of what ails us so we can move on. And here we have this idea with this little owl asteroid of Praamzius. And this is a story to do with fate, okay? And it's like sort of like realizing that events that are beyond our control, fated events will occur, and we might need to just sort of accept that. And this is Sisyphus. You know, the guy kept being punished. He was punished, evil, bad guy. He was doing rotten things, and he got punished by the gods. And he kept rolling a boulder uphill, and then it would roll back, and rolling it uphill, and it would roll back. So it's a Sisyphean effort. Something was taking a huge toll, a huge effort to roll something uphill, and it was hard, but it's behind you. The sun has moved past it. So you could say things like, roughly last week, where did it feel like you're rolling a boulder uphill at certain times, especially the end of last week, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, kind of the tail end of last week. You might have felt that Herculean effort to get something done, but it was not easy to do. Mercury has moved here into the sign of Leo. He's going to be the ideas, the news, the information that's coming to you, me, and the world individually and collectively. I have a bit of a concern that the moon on Monday and Tuesday, particularly mostly Monday, is in a square to the asteroid Grieve and Mars, the god of war. Now, I'm going to stop and say one thing about this for you. Okay, this is concerning because moons trigger events, basically. That's what the problem is here. Moons will trigger events. And what I'm concerned about is the fact that Israel is a Libra rising. So Israel, the nation of Israel, is a Libra rising. Mars is in the Libra rising ascendant place of Israel, where it has not been since the fall of 2023. Mars is out of kilter, and he's off his A game, and he is creating right now a heat wave of massive proportions in Israel as I record on August the 17th. That is not surprising. Mars rules heat, droughts, fire. He's making it unbearably hot there. That's the least of the damage he can do. And when he's on this asteroid Grieve, or he's been traveling with Grieve for a while now, he's also forming an intense energy that's connected to a kite, and that kite will be activated on various time frames, particularly mid-September, September 18th, and on September the 23rd. So I see a huge downfall energy for Israel, not to mention the eclipse to Netanyahu's midheaven. And this Mars week ahead, I'm just concerned that on Monday or maybe Tuesday, the moon squaring Mars in the ascendant of Israel from the place of its leaders, and the asteroid Grieve could look like a very big news story coming out about Gaza, Israel, Middle East, and something. I mean, it's already bad enough, right? But something more is coming out. That's my story. That's my story. That's my world astrology. We're going to do your sign. I just wanted you to be aware of that, especially that, there's a huge number of Israelis fleeing the country right now, according to the news, getting in airplanes and leaving because of the heat wave. And I was listening to one podcast talking about, the indigenous people in Gaza have the same heat wave, and they're not, they can't run, but also that they historically can survive because they're native to the land, whereas the particular population that's in Israel stems from Europe, right? So if you know anything about that, so they're not like indigenous, maybe like thousands of years ago, but not recently. So interesting times we live in. Let's go ahead and do each sign. We're going to start with Aries. I'm going to talk to you primarily about this energy of this remedy for something that's troubling you, and how this is going to be the week that reveals it. And if you look at the sun at 26 degrees on Monday, you'll see that the sun only crosses into on Friday, Virgo. So you're going to find that the front end of this week is incredibly oriented towards finding that remedy or solution for something that ails you, and really putting this Herculean, Sisyphean hardship and rolling something uphill behind you, but healing that splinter in your reality with Chiron in the sign of Aries that has been with you since February of 2019. So it's a bigger story than just one off. And I also will say to you, you're still working hard with, the tasks in your bucket of things to do are being done with diligence and perseverance, and all of the mental hard work that's needed. However, and that's because of Mercury and Mars tracking last Thursday, the week before this one that you're watching this video, beside each other in a sextile, right? That has been ongoing. It kind of finishes up by Friday of this week. Downfall, unbalanced Mars, right? Mars is going to go all out and work your ass off and be exhausted and burned out. Or he's going to not know how to get started, and he's going to lie down and take a nap. So it isn't the easiest one in terms of how those planets are trying to work with each other. I'll give you that. Let's start off with Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. If you're in the live premiere listening to this today, please hit the like button and subscribe. It would really be appreciated by you. As you know, I've been incorporating oracle cards into the story, and this isn't one video. I won't be doing that. I'm traveling. I didn't pack a bunch of oracle decks with me. On my last video that I put out, which came out Sunday, which I talked about the eclipse preview, I didn't draw cards either. And there's a simple reason. It was way too complicated for one tarot card. So similarly, this is a just a simple astrology delineation. Thursday's video will go back to the oracle format, I think. Maybe not. We'll see. Okay, so Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. When I look at the sky, because I'm one of you, I have a sun and a moon in the sign of Aries. I take you and me back to 2019, February, through till now. This whole thing ends next year, and in early 2027 completely. Kind of, I'd say by the end of 26, you're feeling it closing down. But where have you felt wounded, Aries, in your identity? For if you're listening for your Aries sun, it's about your career wounds. If you're Aries moon, about home and nests and where you live, and if you're, or your emotional states. And if you're listening for your Aries ascendant, your identity is wounded. You don't feel good about who you are. There's something like the wounded sense of self, maybe like an outcast, not fitting in. Chironic wounds are about being abandoned by mom, about outcasts, about the outsider, about not connecting or fitting in with other people. And so underneath the chironic mother wound and outsider wound are the gifts to your truest powers in this planet, how you have gifts to offer the world, your original medicine. So here's where you've been wounded. You are wounded directly to the heart of you. Aries sun, you could even say you have some soul wounds that have been going on, or wounds about what my purpose or career would be. And your Aries moon, like me, I've moved so many times since 2019, my head is spinning. So a wound around home. So if you consider that this has been ongoing, like that splinter in your mind, this is where there's a profound opportunity to find a solution or a remedy. And the remedy comes out of the fifth house of joy, fun, play, and pleasure. What inspires you to get out of bed in the morning? What makes you feel like life is worth living? Those are themes of the fifth house. It's that joyful spark of innocence and wonder that life's a game, you're having fun, it's pleasurable, and you're going to play it, right? With competitive zest. Now, that innocence and all that wonder of the childhood way is the solution. If you have art or creative or artistic abilities, do it. Go do it. Go write, go paint, go sing, go dance, go perform. I just danced last night, because finding that innocence and wonder and awe and play and talent and joy is important to you. Follow your bliss, Joseph Campbell. That's your remedy. That's your medicine. That medicine of the fifth house can also involve really being willing to be your own boss, create your own entrepreneurial success stories. For those of you who might be stuck in dead end jobs, I would say there's a remedy is to go your own way and make your own business happen. Of course, you have a natal chart that says that's good for you or not. I'm not reading your personal chart. This is general bell curve astrology. Romantic love and children and fertility and pregnancy are fifth house matters. So maybe sexual and romantic time, or can really help right now, be a remedy for what ails you in your career, in your home life, or in your sun and moon, or in your identity itself. Finally, I would say to you, because you've been pushing a boulder last week uphill, and by the time we get, thank God, to the end of this week, that pushing the boulder up the hill is ending, right? It's coming to an end. I think you're going to feel like a relief is off your shoulders. And my shoulder's been bothering me, as you guys know. Feels actually better after dancing last night and just waving my arms all over the place like a kid in an outdoor dance place here in Washington State. It was so much fun. So I had a real nice time dancing. And there's a thing about that energy. Where is the place of joy? I don't care if it's knitting. What brings you joy and you've just abandoned it? It's time to bring it back. Now, I said that's your remedy, okay, for this week. It should show up naturally. It should just arise for you, right? And the whole idea of Mars here, talking with Mercury Monday through Friday, basically, really, getting a lot of work done. It's how you reach out to your audience, your marketplace, your clients, your business partners, and energy in your marriage as well, or long-term love story. Certainly Mars is out of whack. He's with asteroid Grieve. Some of you might be going through a closure or ending in love stories, but there's still a suggestion of how Mercury wants to work through communication to soothe the seventh house stories. Unfortunately for Aries, we've got Mars here for 6 weeks. It's not an easy narrative. He puts us off kilter. For those of you on social media like me, this could be where the trolls are over the top. Now, I did say I wouldn't do an oracle draw, but I feel called to. So I'm going to grab my little tarot deck and I'm going to get one card for everybody to do with how to approach the energy of this hugely positive remedy for what ails us on the chironic wound of Aries in our whole sign Aries house. So Aries, you have the devil. Now, good old devil. Sometimes that's where we have, shadow work to do, but it's also, and polarity work to do, but it's also often connected to addictions, self-undoing. And I'm not surprised, because one thing about the fifth house is pleasures, right? And, chironic wound of identity or purpose in career or home and home life connected to the pleasures of the fifth house and the remedy. So again, if you are like me and you've got like an addiction to wine or something, the pleasure of the thing that gives you pleasure can be replaced by what gives you joy, because the fifth house is intrinsic joy, happiness that comes from within, causeless joy, the joy of breathing, the being alive, of putting your feet in the grass, of taking a swim in a cold river, like over here near me, of going on a ride on a fair, that kind of fun and joy that just is really pure. It's the kid in the playground, on the slide, or on the game, on the things you can play on in a playground. They're having fun just at a pure, innocent level. It's not an alteration of our consciousness through a substance. And so I'm going to offer that to you and to me as an Aries, that we can uncover the roots maybe of why we can be craving like dopamine escapist substances, and how maybe it's easy to move towards something new and fresh that brings us true joy, so that it's more joyful to do that than to do, like, say, the wine or the drug or whatever you're into. I'm definitely looking at that for myself as a cleanse coming up with the Virgo new moon. If anyone wants to join me, we can team up and we can create a little community around taking a 40-day break on any mind-altering substances. And then we head to Taurus, folks. And here we have this crazy week ahead, the splinter in your reality since 2019 that I introduced you to, right, Tauruses? That's that vibe of something's not right with the world in my 12th house. And that started to be something you became aware of in February of 2019. And you've been tussling with this ever since. It wants to really heal you, but it is the house of isolation and dungeons and being alone and solitude. And Chiron is the outcast who doesn't belong to the other centaurs. And, he was a civilized centaur and the rest of them weren't. And I really want to consider that maybe in this story for you, you might want to look at healing that sense of isolation or being the misfit or the one who doesn't fit in somewhere. Now, we have in the 12th house since 2019 the possibility of encountering addictive and abusive habits, right? Being a substance misuse, disuse, or disordered person. And if you've noticed anything like that happening in your reality, Taurus, sun, moon, and rising, right? Then you want to self-correct. So this is an opportunity for that self-correction as well. And I'll tell you about the cure-all in a minute. And the last part of the 12th house are hidden enemies. You may have noticed that you got into friendship circles. My Taurus son daughter, oh my God, some of the roommates she had in university were horrendous. I mean, they literally were out together. And she's the sweetest, most empathic woman I know. So, people not looking at face value, like what you see wasn't what you got. So you may have noticed that people came out like hidden enemies and they weren't good for their word. I know a client who kept attracting business partners who were out to get them. They almost were like vicious rather than just, what do you call it? Like, what's the word I want? Like bad at what they do. So there's a lot to be said about that. You're letting go of the hidden enemies. You're being your own worst enemy, sabotaging yourself, feeling out of touch with isolation. Like if you had to heal that, it'd be how to be alone and be happy, because that would have been the Chironic healing of that, because solace and solitude, contemplation and aloneness could have given you sage-like wisdom. So hopefully you learned that alone is okay, because Chiron would have made you feel like you shouldn't be alone at first, but then you realize there was juice and power in solitude. Now, as we go through that curing energy, the healing of that, this splinter that was been here since 2019 February, you'll see that the remedy, the panacea, and the solution is your 4th house. Now, that's a little bit complicated because the 4th house has meanings that are very obvious, like your home, your domicile, where you live. Some of you might need to move your home because the remedy is the right home for you. And you've been having this Herculean effort to push something up. Well, Praamzius is telling us fated events beyond your control influence your home right now. So keeping all that in mind, where you felt like you've been pushing hard and rolling back with regards to home? A Taurus that I know kept trying to get a refinancing deal for his home. Unfortunately, he's having to sell it because he couldn't. But that pushing and pushing and pushing to get that home from foreclosure basically didn't work, hasn't been working. So the remedy is to go for a new home. I mean, that sounds like a hard story, but not all stories are easy, Taurus. When you're pushing up a hill here last week to get something to happen on the home front story, maybe even beyond that, 2 weeks behind, because we've had the sun here, for almost 3 weeks with this asteroid of the Sisyphean her effort to get something to stay up and rolls back on you. The boulder keeps rolling back. You might think about your childhood, right? Because this is your childhood. This is things that happened when you were a kid that are holding you back. And the remedy for your self-undoing addictions, fear of being alone, isolation, enemies you attract, being your own worst enemy, the remedy is coming from your childhood. There's something to uncover in your childhood story or stories. You'll notice that as the moon has entered into here later on around Thursday, that's also about your mother and the mother wound. And Chiron had a mother wound, and this is the house of the mother with the moon. So also I would encourage some Tauruses to consider, especially a rising sign, the Taurus energy could indicate a mother wound that you haven't dealt with. And it's time to unpack that and resolve that so that you can move beyond this problem, part of your chart. If it's not a mother wound, it's just a wound of childhood, being in the home as a child. Difficult things happen to all of us. And with Mercury here, there could be a revelation, information, news, or insights that come somehow, some way through the 4th house. And maybe from mom, maybe from dad, maybe from somebody that was in your household when you were growing up. And then you could sort of have a kind of clearing about the childhood stories that keep you from being your best self. For the 12th house falls away from your Taurus 1st house, and this indicates where you are falling away from the apex of power, your own personal power. Now, I'm going to draw a card for you on this. Just remember, you're working hard like you were last week, all of last week, particularly Thursday, and now we move into this week. This continues to be a story till Friday. Getting shit done require a lot of work connected to your home, and that could even be matters to do with work, commuting, projects from home, work from home projects, things like that. There's just something like a blast of wind coming through. Oh, I know what it's coming from. The window's not closed. Okay, I'll have to fix that. All right, moving into a card for you. How do you deal with this chironic healing? Because you got a remedy here from what you've been ailed by since 2019. And here we have the card for you is new beginnings. Okay. You want new beginnings connected to what inspires you, what is inspirited, full of spirit, where you can start fresh in some way that is very creative. Look at all the sprouts coming off the wand. The wands are spiritual energy. There's a river that runs through it. There's a beautiful like castle in the background, and you're sprouting fresh, new beginnings of some sort. Certainly the fourth house could be a fresh new beginning, not only in the home that you want to try to maximize a direction for a new home, but also it could indicate starting anew because you're going to undo, remove, heal, something to do with your childhood. All wands are new beginnings. All wands, all aces are fresh starts to new beginnings, but it's coming from a highly spiritual level. So the next sign after is Gemini. This is a way big week for all of us because something that's been troubling you since February of 2019, that splinter in your life, is a chironic wound. And it's always, wait, we got to go back. It's always happening. Chironic wound, it's always happening where Aries is right now. And it's in the house of friendship circles, groups that you belong to, or your relationship with a sibling, one older if you have one. Things to do with your friendship circles are very interesting here because chironic wounds are about being the outsider, not fitting in. Now, if you are a son, it's maybe not fitting in regarding soul crew, the crew that's your soul buddies. You really want to find that. Or if it's your son, you're not fitting in with colleague and co-worker settings or people you connect with in career matters. If it's your moon, you're not fitting with people where you live. And if it's your Gemini ascendant, you're not fitting with any people that you want to blend with. No, my son progressed into Gemini a few years ago, and so I can relate to this one. I have had a hard time fitting in with my friendship circles. I don't like small talk. It's like fucking chalk on the nails on a chalkboard, excuse my language. And that's partly because of my autistic spectrum disorder / superpowers. I want to talk about ideas. I want to talk about spirituality. I want to talk about anything but small talk, right? There's just one small example, but also wounding in the house of friends means friends may have wounded you. You may have had social groups of belonging and friendship where you've actually been wounded by those connections. And tell me in the comments if some of you Geminis have been there. I certainly have. I've also lost 2 friends during this time who died. So since 2019, that's a wound in the house of friendship. And I feel more alone because of that. So reflecting on that consideration, this is trying to heal something there. Now, there's more than friendship in your 11th house. It's also the wound to your long-range goals, dreams, and plans. There's also a wound to the profitability and gains that you make directly from your career. And you've been feeling perhaps a bit wounded there. A chironic wound won't be about a lack of money, although it could be from your career. It could be a lack of feeling like the way you're making the money is purposeful and meaningful, that you're using your talents and gifts to the highest. Like I said, I just don't want to think of myself as an astrological weather girl. You know what I'm saying? So there's a bit of a wound. So consider that those wounds are having an opening in this week ahead that's really beautiful. The opening is coming through the asteroid Panacea. A solution, a remedy can emerge from your 3rd house. And you've been pushing a boulder up this hill as well, and it's felt frustrating last week or even the week before. The 3rd house says the remedy for what ails you here is in the following themes: projects that involve writing and communicating, projects that involve teaching or learning, skills-based teaching and learning, and projects that involve your ideas, right? And projects that can involve travel or things that involve travel. This is also the neighborhood that you live in, the neighbors. If you don't have friendship circles that you like, have you been in the wrong hood, And this local environment, friends from childhood, neighbors, neighborhood stories, this is where you could open up to some remedy. So a change of neighborhood. Now, everyone knows I moved to a different neighborhood. It's really noisy with the sirens, but all said and done, the building is like a neighborhood. They have a WhatsApp group. We're all chatting. People bring, I ran out of flour and someone's running up to the neighbor's place with flour. In other words, it's a very cohesive neighborhood within a high-rise building. It's crazy. So maybe that will be a place I'll find some solace there, this energy, it says remedy is also in your mind. See, you think in the third house, you speak in the second house, you are and I am in the first house. So by changing your mind about your circumstances, about your life goals and dreams, the way your career gains are made, the way you interact with friendships that may or may not serve you, by having a mental shift, you can really significantly change the wound here this week ahead. And you'll notice that as the week goes on as well, moon moves in here as we approach Thursday, giving you a sense too of maybe a new home. Ultimately, it's not quite here yet. The Virgo new moon on the 23rd could indicate the Virgo new moon. Yeah. Did I say right? Yeah. The Virgo new moon here on the 23rd, which I've done a video on already. Go watch it. Could indicate that you're going to be headed into a new home within 6 months. And that could really help you heal the energy of whatever this friendship problem is up here, circles of belonging and all of that. All right. So any last guidance for you? Mercury is news and information. Look for some information or news from a sibling, one younger, cousins, aunts, uncles, nieces, a neighbor. That online social media sphere is here, right? That could really propel you to some exciting development where you don't feel like you're burdened pushing the rock up the hill in that part of the sky. And yet at the same time, that bit of information, news, phone call, text messages, it should show up Monday through, probably pretty quickly, but Monday through Friday can really liberate your chironic wound of the 11th house, and maybe also increase your career gains as well. So look for that possibility of a nice little pop in your finances in the career sector because of this story going on in the third house. The solution is in your mind. So also change your thinking about your life situations, right? Oh, wait, my whole microphone tipped over. I hope that was even working for you guys to hear me. Okay, here's a card for you guys. I'm going to draw a card for you how to navigate this incredibly healing energy of the week ahead. I love the Queen of Wands for you guys. And given that the Wands energy is very much about a female who can be the queen of her kingdom, she's aligned with spirit. She's aligned with the solar energy of the sunflowers. She uses her familiar, the cat, to find out what she's going to do next. All said and done, of course, this is happening in fire, Chiron in fire, and the Aries, and the sun tracking with asteroid Panacea in Leo. So fire signs are connected to the Queen of Wands. And so all I can say is lean into this kind of royal throne that you can seat yourself on, which really connects to the sun moving through the end of Leo. In fact, there is a star there. I should have brought that up on that the sun will cross on Thursday, which is Little King. So looking for some apex healing on Thursday where you kind of step into your power as a Queen of Wands, trusting spiritual energy to be available for you in your sovereignty, looking for that real lift perhaps on Wednesday, Thursday, as the sun crosses Regulus as well into early on Friday. Okay. So what we're going to do next is to the next sign for the week ahead astrology. Please hit the like button and subscribe, and check out my Sky Reader course in the description box underneath the video. So if you're a Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising, there is this like epic healing trying to happen for the cure-all, the remedy for something that's been bugging you and not right in your world since 2019. And that is in your career space. This can indicate you've been since 2019 either wounded about feeling on purpose and having meaning in your career, or you have also been working in a career path to amplify a direction that puts you in alignment with being a guide or a mentor to other people. But for most people, it is more like a wound. You feel like the outsider in your profession. You haven't found the lockstep and key energy, or like lock and key for where you belong in your career. What's your niche? What's your role? What's your original medicine for the world? Are you retired? That can be the wound. What am I doing with my life? There's just something like the place where you want to have ambition, success, and recognition is wounded since 2019. My Cancer rising sister retired in 2018, for example. She's a great healer, healingwithnancylynn.com. She's amazing at distance healing, but she may not have found her niche. She's still looking to figure out what the perfect niche for her is. And so niching a perfect meaning career, using your perfect talents and gifts for the world is what a lot of Cancers are working on figuring out right now. Okay. Sun, moon, and rising. Sun, particularly at your career, same thing. Rising, it really fits. Cancer, moon, there's a wound around recognition and all of that, but it's 10th houses from your moon. So how things you do in the home, things you do in the home support you in the expression of career, for example. I kind of would like you to consider another meaning. That's the father. This can be the house of the father. I wonder if some of you have gotten into a situation where you are not realizing you're dealing with a father wound, right? You haven't healed it, or the father's influence in your childhood has been a challenge and you're still operating underneath some of the constraints of what father told you could or couldn't do, succeed at or not succeed at. There's something, or how he modeled failure or lack of success in his own career. So father wound stories are here for you to consider as well. That wound is going to end in 27 when Chiron gets out of there completely. He's almost done anyway, because next year he goes back and forth at the end of the year between Taurus and Aries. But I'm going to tell you that woundedness is going to have a remedy in the money house. Earnings, resources, money, whether you spend it, whether you save it, whether you acquire it, this is your second house. And it is, in our modern day, not how many chicken, cattle, and cows and ostriches you have, it's how much money you have. So your resources are where the Artha house is here, where you've been pushing a boulder up a hill ever since the sun probably entered Leo with Sisyphus there. That's about 3 weeks ago. And you are literally trying to figure out how in the world to stop working so hard and feeling it rolling back. Just when you get ahead, you think you got all your money ducks in a row, or all your resources in a row, or you spent all you need to spend, and the friggin' boulder can roll back. And, you got a new debt, you got a new financial situation. It feels like you're like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. If that has been a problem for you, and some of you may have experienced that in the last 2 or 3 weeks, this is a turning point story. The solution to your chironic woes of career and purpose is making money, saving money, or spending money on the things that you really need. So with Mercury and Mars in this condition, buy the car, buy the house, buy the thing you need in and for the house, buy the perfect sofa, buy that new dishwasher. It's actually an attitude thing too. Spend as needed. The sun is coming into sovereign territory of Little King, the star, Thursday and Friday. You're really coming into a new level of power when it comes to matters of your actual self-worth and how you attach yourself to money in a healthy or unhealthy way. It's not money is the root of all evil. It's the love of money is the root of all evil. And finally, fated events around financial circumstances and career are indicated with Praamzius here in the mix with the sun and with the moon entering here on Thursday in your second house. There's only kind of like, you might want to spend money, Mercury, to purchase or sell a thing in your home you don't need, or buy a thing for your home you need. And that's almost like a remedy. It's like a magical spell to use money as needed, right? As needed in a powerful, authentic way. And it can lead to a really powerful return of your natural talents, gifts, and meaning and purpose to the direction your career is taking. I'm going to draw a card for you and see what I get. And let's see if it helps us understand how you felt how your fellow cancers can operate this month. Okay, maybe you need an osteopath. This makes sense. This is the energy of the Wheel of Fortune. And it is like when the stakes of the chart are activated, houses 1, 4, 7, and 10, the Kentrons. This is your 10th house, right, where Chiron sits. And there is something profoundly positive trying to spin the wheel of destiny to allow you to move gracefully and with luck and expansion into a very perfected expression of meaning and purpose in career that also amplifies the ability to retain and make and save and earn money. So let me know how that goes for you guys. I'd like to hear back from you, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. This week ahead, let's move into Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I need a sip of water. Give me a minute. Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. First of all, you have this energy going on where there is a sun traveling through your sign. Yes, that's normal at this time of year, from like the Cancer turning point last month. So sometime like around the 21st of of last month, and it's coming to its close as the sun is climaxing here this week at the end of Leo. And maybe you've been feeling maybe some way back even since, the third week of July, like you're pushing uphill a boulder, trying to go up the hill at Sisyphus, and it keeps rolling back on you, and you push it up and it rolls back on you. You're not getting anywhere. It's frustrating. It's arduous in something that you, Leo, care about. Leo moon, to do with your matters of home and homeland and property. And you, Leo sun, your career path and your ambitions for success in career and purpose. Or you, Leo risings, anything about yourself, including your body, including your physical form. Maybe it's been health challenges have been hard to overcome. Now, this energy has a remedy, a healing that wants to be offered. There is a healing, a remedy. Sorry, this is the month ahead. I just described the whole thing about the sun with the boulder being pushed up the hill, fated events. Okay, but there's a panacea, a remedy that's traveling with the sun this week, Monday through Friday. And it's saying, let's heal a chironic wound of belonging or purpose and meaning in the ninth house. The ninth house chironic wounds, if you're born with that one in the ninth house, you misfired on your higher education. You went to get some knowledge and wisdom and you studied the wrong subject matter. A lot of clients will tell you that if you're born with Chiron in the ninth house, or you have a chironic wound around your belief in a religion or God or higher power. But whatever this thing is, it's not your birth wound. It's a wound that you've been living with since 2019. And you just don't feel like you're on purpose, or you just can't reconcile the educational path that you are choosing or have chosen, or you just can't figure out why you're not having success with distant shores, foreign lands, and peoples. And book publishing. Yeah, you really thought, why does a publisher not want my writing? So all Leos have gone through some kind of chironic wound. Father figures are also up here in Vedic astrology. Maybe you have a chironic wound to the father, or the father in your life is wounded and you're having to deal with that since 2019. Now, there's a beautiful turning point with the remedy, and the remedy is in your hand. You, Leo rising, you just know the remedy is inside of you. You have to discover it. Mercury is the mind energy. You have to go in and understand how you can heal what has ailed you in the ninth house. And interestingly enough, this can be guides, gurus, and teachers as well, mentors, advisors who you've had wounded relationships with. I do want to say that you can definitely look at the moon coming into the sun as we get through this week. You have to feel the energy going on here. Thursday, Friday, the moon is activating the energy of the sky. Let me look at the exact time the moon is shifting into that part. The moon moves into Leo like Wednesday and Thursday, okay? And it'll be kind of closing out on Friday. I kind of want you to consider that this is like a new moon trying to form, but it'll skip into your second house on the 23rd. So some of the ways this wound has been bothering you can have a fresh start through new ideas about what it is that you need to do in order to resolve it. But I want to note that the moon, after all of this, moon's tracking, everybody's moving, it's going to be the sun's moving into 0 degrees of Virgo, followed by the moon on the 22nd of the month, Saturday, or the 23rd, is time zone dependent. That on the 22nd, 23rd, the new moon is going to give you a new beginning and a fresh start. I already put my new moon in Virgo video out. Go watch it. And it's going to be financial. Okay. So a lot of this energy eventually leads to some financial success or some financial redirection and new beginnings. I don't know, guys. It's really hard to delineate a chironic wound in the house of God. But do you have existential despair? Do you feel there's no meaning to life? Do you feel sometimes like everything is purposeless and meaningless? That would be a classic God is dead energy. With Chiron in the ninth house, you've been tasked to find guides, mentors, shamans, and healers and teachers to restore your faith in a higher order of things. And this remedy is in your hands this week. One more thing is Chiron can be a shaman, guide, or teacher, and the sun and the remedy will trine, and therefore you may come into the contact with a shaman, guide, teacher, mentor, or healer this week ahead, and that's your healer. That's the one for you. That's the one that's going to restore a sense of faith in reality. Let's draw a card for you. I'm sorry about my shoulder. It's annoying that I keep rotating my shoulder with you guys. It was better. It's better than it's been for a while. The Four of Wands. Oh my God, the happy family, happy outcomes, the wedding vow, etc. But it's also a card of establishing a new foundation from spiritual energy that is, like the Emperor, all the fours have that, building a new foundation. The new foundation you would build here that's joyful and balanced and harmonious and like a wedding or a happy family. This is to me really strongly connected to the fact that, I think anyway, that you're going to move into that second house new moon on the weekend, and it's going to flow to the 10th house of the father. It's going to flow to the four energy that way. And I think you're trying to establish a new identity based on purpose and meaning. Chiron, end of 26, 27 moves into your career house, right? And that point, you've been working with meaning, working with purpose, working with what you need. Chiron will take you through a journey, after that, to as he moves to Taurus, to come into real alignment. I don't know. If I were you, I'd be figuring out what spiritual, religious, and mystical path is true for you before you step into the story of Chiron navigating your 10th house, 2027 onset. And is there anything else I want to say to you from the card draw? Everything about this story, with the remedy for everything that ails you, and the boulder that you're pushing up the hill, it does indicate, of course, that you're looking at the 7th house of marriage, and the Four of Wands is a marriage card, or the wedding marriage card. So if there's something going on as well in your marriage that isn't quite right, that's not quite working for you, if you have to resolve that, this is a really interesting time this week ahead to do that. Maybe through the guidance of a Chironic mentor or teacher, where you can also remedy situations in your long-term committed love stories for those who have them, that can indicate a shift this week as well. And then after Leo, we have the Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign energy. You have been feeling a splinter in your reality that's been uncomfortable in the 8th house since 2019 with Chiron's entry here. That could be wounds around other people's money and chunky money. For example, inheritances. I often use my daughter, she doesn't mind, as an example, where grandma got her an inheritance she finally came into possession of, and she blew through it in 2019, right? She was a kid. She was a teenager, 18. It was easy to do that by mistake. It wasn't a lot of money, guys. She didn't blow through millions of dollars, but I'm just saying. And she's been wounded there. Oh my God, I blew my money. There's a wound to do with the way your partner in love and commitment shares their resources with you, properly or not. Have they been generous? Are you equal balance there? Or a wound when divorce settlements happen, you don't get what you think you deserve, or you have to struggle for your share of resources with a partner upon separation. Those wounds are there. Wounds around investments, credit card debts, indebtedness, money chunks that you don't earn, that you didn't handle well. These are ideas. You could have a wound about your psychic ability, your occult nature, your all your clairs, audient, clairvisual. You've been trying to heal. For some of you, Virgo's the best path would have been studying with a Chironic mentor in the occult arts. And if some of you did, that would have been a great choice since 2019 to come to terms with your natural psychic abilities. But with this storyline, this Chironic wound wants to have a remedy, a solution called Panacea, and it comes from the 12th house. 12th house remedies are the following: past life regressions, Akashic records readers and readings, looking into your navel and contemplating your belly button and asking yourself, what the hell am I doing? Is this a past life or a childhood wound that I keep living out here? What's my problem with money anyway? Certainly Mars is off balance right now in your second house of spending, and you might be spending way too much, or you're spending way too little, and you're having to deal with that teeter-totter as well, reminding you that there's something off kilter financially, and you have to come to terms with it. Now, it may not be your money, don't forget. It's the money you share with others, the money that's unearned, but there is something you're trying to heal. And as you look at this inward direction of the 12th house, it is also the place where you keep sabotaging yourself. In this case, sabotaging money stories. And so you may be looking more deeply at motive and habit and the way you unfold your own hot mess when it comes to financial matters. I think that the idea that you have fated circumstances with Praamzius, you also have the remedy, you also have the boulder that you keep pushing up the hill. If you have an addiction of any kind, that's the 12th house. You've been pushing that boulder up. I quit wine for 2 weeks. Now I'm back again. I'm up and down, whatever the problem is here. Anything that is an addictive or bad habit of yours is being worked on. And I do love the idea of the panacea and the remedy and the cure all. And Chiron in the 8th house is often a psychologist. And I kid you not, I have so many psychological clients. I mean, they're therapists, right? Psychoanalysts and counselors and social workers. You'll see planets. Well, mostly for the psychiatrists and psychologists, social workers have a lot of planets in the 12th. It's a place where you might be coming into your perfect guide, mentor, therapist type person to do with karmic habits, patterns, childhood wounds, and addictions. And you may be working through that. So if you encounter such a person this week, it's your person, right? So Monday through Thursday, looking at coming into alignment through therapeutic support on addictions as well. And being alone, being comfortable being alone, how solitude can be your ally. This is something that you need to consider as a remedy, that you can solve more problems alone than you can by being out and about and, hanging with people and socializing, right? Aloneness can be therapeutically remedial. Time alone can be healing for you in this week ahead. Sorry about that, Virgo. Oh my goodness. I knew enough of you that I shouldn't be actually doing forgettingness on Virgos, right? All right, so I can't laugh, but 2 cards stuck together and you get both. This is the dark night of the soul, right? You're coming into a deep excavation. Soul belongs to the 8th house, and addictions belong to the 12th, and past lives and karma. Dark night of the soul, week ahead, turning point, intuition. Well, of course, you need to use your lunar self. Your high priestess is the queen of intuition because you have the 8th house activated. It is a turning point by using the inner knowing, the lunar landscape of your intuition to navigate a dark night of the soul. Okay. And this can also be a time in which you feel a deep constriction around, the energy of pentacles, money, health, wellness. There's something that needs to be worked through here. You do not have a sky that in particular indicates, for example, a challenge to your health, other than Pluto in your 6th house. But, it's more like that dark night of the soul where you feel like out in the cold, out in the wind, despairing, struggling, etc. If there was ever a card to represent people in Gaza, it's a 5 of Pentacles. Okay. So that's a psychological state of being. And by the way, the high priestess could indicate that guide or mentor is female, right? That you could find a guide, mentor, healer, teacher this week ahead, and it's female. Sorry about that. I forgot you. And I have to tell my sister to think of that when she's time stamping. So Libra, I started you and we're coming back to you. The splinter of the Chironic splinter in business partnerships and love relationships. It matters connected to your long-term love and legal matters. Has been wounded since 2019. And this wounding has a remedy in the house of friendships this week. It's likely that a sibling one older or an ally benefactor type of friend who wants to help you steps out of the woodwork to be of great resourcefulness for you and will help you. Because if you look at the 11th house just from the friendship circle story, something to do with an email, phone call, text, Mercury, right? New moon, new beginnings from a friend leans into supporting a healing in the long-term love, in the relationship stories, in the business partnership stories, in the significant others of your life that have been troubling you. Sometimes with Libras, you've attracted wounded business partners, wounded love partners. They're wounded. It's not your problem, but you're having to cope with it. In astrology, there's something called the overfunctioner and or the wounded bird and the overfunctioner. And so you might have to pick up the mess of your partner, or you have to, treat them like they got a problem. They've got a wound, right? And you're like on the other side going, how do I help? Some kind of information guidance from a friend, a benefactor, ally could help support you in healing the business and love wounds of the 7th. If you're single, it still doesn't matter. It's the wounded quality. You've engaged in long-term love stories since 2019, or business partners with wounded qualities going, and you've been wounded by the people you've chosen to be with, perhaps. Now, your gains of your career belong to the 11th house, and Jupiter and Venus are up there blessing you anyway. So there can be some kind of place where you've been pushing like a boulder up the hill to get some greater career profitability going, and it keeps rolling back. And this is a very good time for a remedy or a cure to that problem. And the remedy is connected as well to a significant other, business partner or marriage partner, client or customer. It's in this kind of chart, a particular important client can give you support to remedy a business wound, a chironic wound to do with your public audience and profitability. So many ways it can work. Depends on what kind of business you're in. You could have a client with a suggestion for you that totally transforms your profitability because your client is acting like a teacher, guide, and mentor to you. That vibe is here at this time, this week ahead. Monday through Friday, it is the strongest. Okay. I'm going to draw a card for you, but I also would mention how we have a plan for our lives. We think, God laughs when our plans go astray, but have a plan. Or there's a stupid expression about, whenever you think you know what you're going to do, God laughs at your plans. But you do have plans that you're making in the 11th house, like your goals, your dreams, your visions for your life, right? You plan ahead here, forward thinking, forward planning, dreams and wishes. And there's wounded Chiron flowing to a sun remedy energy. The remedy for wounds in long-term love and business partnership and how you reach your clients and audience is to dream a different dream. Okay. To put into place a new vision board, maybe even a vision board. Okay. The card I've got for you is the marriage card, for one thing, and you have Jupiter and Venus in the marriage house. Is the time to get engaged, get married, or whatever. But it's also about institutions. It's also about inner teacher, going in and connecting with the inner teacher within you, the inner shaman, the inner teacher, the inner pope. And if you can do that, that will be useful. But I think the voice of the inner teacher is going to come through another person with Mercury in your 11th house, including that elder sibling one above you. The house of marriage is the 7th house as well. The house of weddings is the 10th house. You've got Jupiter, Venus in the house of weddings, and you've got the chironic wound with retrograde Saturn and Neptune in the house of marriage. It's going to take me back to looking at long-term committed love, whether you have a partner or not, right? Whether you're with someone or not, it doesn't matter. What are your dreams, wishes, goals, and all of that regarding committed long-term marriage type relationship? There's almost like a need to dream a new dream with all the energy of a new moon forming. Goes to Virgo, your 12th, but building momentum in your 11th house, right? I'm going to encourage you to dream a new dream about what you really want in those connected long-term committed love relationships. In particular, even if you are not with somebody at this time, you still will be or could be in the future. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. I think I need water, but let's keep going. I like this sky for you because you had a chironic wound in the house of health and work. This is work, service, job, health, pets, rental situations. These are all things that could happen in the 6th house. And debt, paying down debt. I know one Scorpio had to pay a huge debt to his father, and it was unfortunate. It was a misunderstanding, and then it ended up being like a wound of paying dad back with an interest rate and stuff. That's a story, right? There's a wound around debts. Literal and karmic. There's a wound here you've been dealing with since 2019 with work. You've got a job, you're making money. It doesn't feel meaningful. It doesn't feel purposeful. You have health challenges, and Chiron is like the chiropractor and all the people trying to help fix you. But you have to deal with challenges with your health, right? Because the healer is also chironic. So this has been going on and off since 2019. You might be really ready to let it go. It's finished in early 27. Don't worry, it's going away. But this is a sky that opens up a remedy or a solution. Even wounded with pets. Your pet died young, hit by a car. You can't get a pet. You want a pet. Your landlord won't let you have a pet. And there's a wound there. This is healing. And this is healing because you could have allergies to pets. This is healing. And because we have a 10th house storyline, there's a big destiny fated factor. Praamzius is here, the asteroid of fated storylines. Pushing a boulder up a hill in the work and career space. Are you like exhausted by your life? Your work is like you're pushing the boulder up a hill. Another potentially true, we think his chart is a Scorpio rising, is where does Putin feel like his work is a jab and he's pushing a boulder up a hill and he's wounded here? He was KGB, now he has to lead a country. Maybe he's like totally like toast. He's ready to quit or something. Having this boulder, you're pushing up your Sisyphus career space, maybe since about the 22nd or 21st of July through to this week, is a story. You get halfway up the hill of your career, reputation, success, work, and you're thinking you're making momentum, and the boulder rolls back on you, right? One step forward, two steps back. That's completing this week. No more of that struggle, right? By Friday, it's gone. But what you have is a cure or a remedy for the job, what ails you in the job place. Mercury is news or information. Jupiter is human resources. You could, in your 9th house, or headhunting, you might find a really important time in this week ahead, Monday through Friday, where either something goes on where you have a definitive shift in a very faded way in the job and career space. Okay. If you're retired, then in what you're doing for your health, vis-a-vis your reputation, like a solar figure, a leader, authority in health matters, dispenses news, book information, because it's Mercury, that allows for you to find a solution to your health problem this week ahead. But for most of you, it will be work and career matters. And I like Mercury up here. Mercury will bring you, he's been backtracking, backpedaling, moving all over the place here since June, but he could bring you a new contract, agreement, news, information, solution to the woes of work. That's what I got. And don't forget, Venus moves into Leo, right? Shortly after, we'll have a separate video on Venus and Leo, and that's really healing for you. It really opens up, probably the Venus and Leo video I'll be doing on Thursday. It really opens up this kind of beautiful luck and opportunity in your career and workspace. So it can impact your finances quite positively as well. I'm going to draw a card for you and see how the Oracle of the simple tarot of the classical tarot has a suggestion for you to navigate this time ahead and what you might want to do with it for yourself. Well, steady and slow wins the race. Okay, this is a material resource, a pentacle knight. He basically is the slowest moving knight. It's almost like he just has to drop the seed of wealth and it'll land on your doorstep. It is to do with the Artha houses, right? 10th house, 6th house, 2nd house. So there's a new direction and a steady new momentum to do with work and career. And I think one thing I'd say about prescription, don't rush. Don't panic. Trust the process. This is a slow moving knight, but he brings financial expansion and growth in steady ways. All right. So don't feel panicked or rushed to get somewhere here. This is going to be a week that shifts the burden of the boulder off your shoulders. Fated circumstances are arising. I think you're going to get new job, new career, new raise, new promotion, especially with the new moon in Virgo on Saturday. All right, Sag, you are a fire sign. This is all a very fire activated week ahead. It is going to be the splinter in your mind, a wound that you've been experiencing since 2019 that you have to deal with in your chironic wounded 5th house. Wounds with children. I know a Sag who had a falling out with his daughter. It was dramatic adult daughter and difficult. Now they've patched it up, thank God. But falling out with children, wounds with your children. Your children are wounded and they're having troubles, even with their health. You might have gone through times, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, where you've been dealing with wounds around your artistic, creative, and muse-inspired self, or you've lost the joy, the fun, and the love, and the pleasure of life, or wounds around sexual and romantic love. This has been the story you've been coping with since 2019. And believe me, I know enough Sagittarius to know that this is true. And pleasures are here. And so if you're going to be overindulging in pleasure, right, not short of an AA, you just love your wine, love your cheese, love your Haagen-Dazs, but it's not serving you anymore. Those pleasures have been wounding you as well. You may also have wounds regarding a sibling, no, not a sibling. What am I saying? Just your children. You have natural gifts and talents you're born with. I do. I'm a really good writer. And this is where those talents lie. You were born to be good at that thing. And sometimes it becomes a hobby. But if you've been wounded in the expression of your natural gifts and talents, and you really know that you want to express them, this is the wound that you're trying to overcome since 2019. And this week ahead is a very healing energy as the sun trines this wound while also sitting on Panacea, the remedy for what ails you. This can bring you in touch with a cure for the problem. And you have been pushing a boulder up here in the ninth house. The ninth house is Dharma, meaning and purpose, natural gifts and talents. This ninth house is foreign lands and pilgrimages. The ninth house. So your remedy is go on a pilgrimage, take a trip to a foreign country, enroll in higher education, get a book publishing deal. Lean into a guide, a therapist, a mentor, or a coach. These are ninth house people to help you recover a sense of wholeness, joy, innocence, and wonder, creativity, and artistic expression. Maybe even you want to get an entrepreneurial business off the ground. Nothing seems working right, or you tried and it failed. Whatever. It's all fifth house wounds and sexual and romantic wounds. I mean, the solution would go on a trip, meet a foreigner, and have a love affair of a lifetime, soul work, pilgrimages, religious institutions, spiritual beliefs are the solution to what ails you in the light, sparky, courageous, heart-centered, natural house of Leo. The fifth house is where we recover a kind of connection to our heart. But it's the heart of your talents, gifts, and the expression of them. It's the heart of what brings you wonder, joy, and innocence. It's a heart of romantic love, which is its own magic. Okay, so you got to heal that wound. And this is a week that allows for that potential by Friday, Monday through Friday. I wonder if a tarot card can give us any indication of some more information for you. I'm losing the light, guys. I'm losing the light here. It's supposed to have been sunny, but it's cloudy out there, which I'm not enjoying that actually. Wait, the cards are dropping off the desk. Give me a minute. Okay, let's fan them without dropping the cards off the desk, for goodness sakes. Okay, the love affair card. I said, run off to a foreign land and have a love affair. The fifth house is love affairs, romantic love. Obviously, you can't manufacture by Friday a love affair that solves all of your woes. There's a deeper meaning to the Two of Cups, the sacred union. It's just like the Lover's card. We have two parts to who we are. We have our masculine and feminine. We unite them like Adam and Eve when we become spiritually whole. And the Lover's card always attracts us to following our true path, the choice to follow the path of your heart's true desire. So I would say there's a lot of that to be coming from the ninth house. A therapist, a guide, a teacher, a journey, a pilgrimage, a course of higher education can help you, a book you read can help you move into a real balance between the masculine and feminine. But even just falling in love with something else than a person, falling in love with your life, a creative project, falling back in love with one of your children, finding and restoring that balance. This is a great card for that because it really makes sense based on your chart. You may find yourself in a union, though, by the end of this week. Someone comes in, and for very few of you, the chironic healing for single Sagittarius will be the opportunity to open up into a new relationship, let's say by the end of this week. Yeah, it could happen. Let me know. With Venus and Jupiter in your ninth house, love can come from far off places or spiritual communities. So let's see what happens. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising. So splinter in your reality of a chironic wound in Aries since 2019. Maybe something you've noticed going on. That energy is really about the root of the sky. This is your home. This is your chart, midnight hour. Like you might be like wounded since 2019 and getting a good night's sleep, finding a perfect bed to lay your head, perfect home, the home that feels like you belong there, the homeland, the hometown, there's the property you live on. There is a wound there, right? And you've been knowing it ever since 2019, something's not quite right there. And you may have been dealing with it also as a mother wound and healing the wound of your mother relationship from childhood and healing any of the wounds from childhood that may be there. And now you can see them and heal them. And this woundedness is in healing mode this week ahead because there is a panacea remedy tracking with the sun tracking with the sun in Leo. Look at that beautiful Leonine force to be reckoned with, Mercury, moon, sun. It's in your eighth house. You know, the eighth house is occult. It's hidden. It's deeply mysterious. It's talking to the dead. It's things to do with your dharma and karma, your deep, profound reason, your most karmatic story. And the sun is in the house of the most karmatic story. The sun is your most karmatic planet for Capricorn. I kind of feel like you're going to actually have some major spiritual shift here, because one of the enlightenments belongs to the eighth house. It's a disidentification, the moksha liberation from your ego, right? And the fourth house enlightenment is from your family of origin and tribe. And the 12th house is, you know, the full Buddhahood. So I kind of wonder if you are having a massive remedy that's a very spiritual remedy, a very deep shift of consciousness from egoic identity and the suffering of the ego. But it still says a home, right? Something can remediate home. And this is the chunky money house. The solution to your wound of home is chunky money, inheritances, lottery wins, money that you get from your spouse, money that comes from unearned sources in chunks. And so if you could come into a chunky money by this week's end, you might find yourself feeling better. There's a Herculean Sisyphean effort. Sisyphus has been tracking, you know, the bulrusks rolling back, tracking with the sun in Leo, probably since like the third week of July. And it feels like a heavy effort to get that chunky money thing worked out. The spousal supports, the benefits from the spousal supports, the money from your investments, the money from your retirement funds, the money from your whatever's money you share with your spouse. And there's a lot of effort and push and roll back, and nothing's quite working out. And then kaboom, here we go. This is a solution. No more rolling back by the end of this week. You're moving forward. There's something about this could really have a tide is turning for you by the time we reach the weekend, where you are seeing a new orientation and a healing towards home. Maybe healing moons to do with your mother's story, but certainly with your home. Does it mean you change your home this week? Of course not. It's not likely. You could move to a new home, but it's you're healing the wound of the home, right? This could allow for you in the unfolding time ahead, right? To find a new home, to land yourself in the right home, to find a place of belonging, right? Wherever you are, you might actually have the right home, but you don't feel like you belong to your neighborhood or the people around you. Well, maybe you can change that. Maybe there'll be a shift there. Certainly with some of you, Saturn is trying to stick the landing on a final home, a final lasting home where you spend some time alone. That could definitely be a story that you experience more broadly or more accurately next year in February, at a year and a half, 2 years, where a lot of you are going to establish a new home. Okay. But there's a turning point about the wound of the home. It doesn't mean you actually change the home. It could be both, right? New rental property, new purchase property, new financial chunks of money that allow you to secure a new home. That's all possible. Okay, we have the Page of Cups for you this week. That's information news that comes from somewhere, somehow, some way. It's positive. It was right side up when I drew it. No, I do want to say that the eighth house with Mercury could bring messages from the dead, or, so, you suddenly get a message from your departed ancestor or something. Like literally look for that energy of a very positive bit of news coming through your sky, a phone call, a text message or something like that in this week ahead. I want to sit with that for a minute. I'm just pondering, thinking there is a likelihood or a possibility that some surprising news could come to you from work and job situations from the past. And that could be also allowing for some news that allows you to shift your home and connection to a work opportunity. But all said and done, the cups are very intuitive. So listen to your inner voice, listen for information from within yourself. Mercury in your eighth house can be a portal to the dead for sure, but he does potentially activate your ability to receive intuitive messages from within yourself to help you orient and shift towards home. I think a lot of that will be very possible, not just outer news, right? But Mercury is sextiling Uranus. So in a broad sextile this week ahead. So shocking sudden news around rental properties, home changes of home coming through phones, emails, text messages as well. Now let's go ahead and do our next sign, which is good old Aquarius. I'm one of you, sun, moon, and rising. I'm rising sign. First of all, I need to get comfortable here. I'm not good sitting. on a chair. I never have been. So Aquarius. Wow, I'm moving by day. I apologize. Let's go back by an hour. Okay. Let's go forward by an hour. Okay. I want you to go back to 2019, recognize something was a splinter in your reality that felt wounded. This is a chironic wound. The wound of Chiron is in your third house. What is your third house? It's writing. It's your mind, a wound to your mind. It's your ideas. It's the way you communicate. It's your marketing, selling, teaching, and learning. Now, when Chiron goes through here, and he got here in 2019, he also brings you teachers, guides, and mentors of skills-based learning. So I started studying with a lot of different astrologers in 2019. So there's that. But I also expressed many times I had a Chironic roadblock here. I had a total writer's block as Chiron entered here in 2019, and I stopped blogging on the Awakened Dreamer blog, where I've been writing for years. So my blog. So there's a definite feeling here that the wound of expression of communication through writing and ideas may be healing and trying to heal, but it could be wounds around your sibling one younger, wounds regarding neighborhood, like where you live and the people in your local environment, everyday world. There's a wound of the neighborhood in which you reside. Even wounds with cousins, uncles, and aunts, and all the extended family that you have. So all that said and done, you've been dealing with that on and off since 2019. Travel, short distance travel. I couldn't travel in my own country during COVID because I didn't take the unnecessary, ineffective protocol. And I was, for more than a year, couldn't go anywhere in my country. If I had to take a plane or a train, I couldn't. You had to drive, I could, but like that's a long way. Canada's a big country. So I'm one of many people wounded on the travel front within my domestic travel environment because of that time. So we have these wounds, right? We've lived through Aquariuses. Now, we're coming into a time where this week is opening up a remedy or a solution with Panacea on the sun in the 7th house. Now, social media is your 3rd house. Yep. So also your online social media networks and the wounds you've had there. You're going to see that this is a chironic wound with a remedy to be healed from the 7th. What is the 7th house? Long-term committed love and marriage. So maybe your significant other can provide something for you this week ahead as a solution to what this wound is. This could be a particular client, audience member, public, or a fan in your realm of your work or life that has a solution for you and literally can deliver it by Mercury, phone call, text messages, or emails. This could be a healing of a wound because of something that goes on with agreements and legal contracts connected to teaching, writing, communicating, marketing, and selling projects. Because this is healing this week ahead, through the energy of a solution, where I'm going to ask you, where have you been feeling since the sun entered Leo and we've been dealing with Sisyphus, having to push something up a hill like a boulder that rolls back? Where has it felt frustrating and difficult for you in your long-term committed love relationship, in your business partnerships, in the way you're relating to your marketplace and audience? And public, if you have a public, it's going to have felt like pushing a boulder uphill. I'm going to use me as an example. My channel growth dramatically slowed with subs. Same number of views I've always had, always the same number of views, not down. Same number of impressions on thumbnails. Everything's the same except the subscriptions, right? I don't know what to say about it. It kind of went into the gutter in July, right? Subscriptions hit a gutter ball for me in July and into August as I speak. Like I'm barely treading water to keep subscriptions over 2,000 a month when I normally get 3 to 4. And sometimes I had 5 and 6 a month, depending on like whether I had a viral hit. So I can tell you, it feels like I'm pushing a boulder uphill to get people to subscribe. And part of it's the algorithm. I'm not going to tell you about my problems, but the algorithm keeps not extending the content to people outside of the already subscribed crew. And it's just like, I'm trying to chip away at my regular viewers rather than getting new viewers out there. So something could break through here for me by the end of this week, where there's an opening for me to move past this condition of restriction and challenge with my audience, marketplace, and clients. For example, for some of you, it'll be the same problem regarding a long-term love story and chironic wounds. And in this case, with Chiron in the 3rd house, it would indicate a relationship. It requires long distance travel, or travel, not that long, but travel a wound of a relationship with geographical separation. Well, I'm in one of those too. So you guys tell me how you're dealing with it. What's going on for you that you felt this chironic wound in the third house? And now the remedy lies in the committed love house, in the business partners, and the audience and marketplace. Mercury can bring you a very important piece of information, like news or information coming from another person this week that really turns a corner on this wound. Okay, that's what I've got for you. Let's take a look at the actual stop the share. What's your card? Let's take a look at it. And here we go. I think this is going a little bit too long. Let's move it on. Aha, Queen of Pentacles. You're the queen of your kingdom of earthly delights and money. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman as I speak this to you. It's about resourcefulness. It's about moving into alignment with what is going to satisfy you on the physical plane, but it also represents financial gain as well. Building a financial wealth kingdom of some sort, being on your own A game of self-reliant wealth or money making. This can make sense because of Jupiter, Venus in your work house right now, but it depends on what you do for a living. But you could get a new job opportunity coming through because of Mercury in the 7th house, a contract for a new job, especially the 3rd house wound. Could be a job in your local environment, could be a job in the online world, but there is an entrepreneurial spirit to both the 2nd and the 3rd and the 5th house. A female may be playing an instrumental role, a female who's financially secure, right? That's another thing that you could say about that story. Ultimately, I kind of want to say also, because it is a pentacle, right, it's going to take us back to some of the earth signs like Taurus and Capricorn and Virgo. You're going to have a new beginning financially because there's a new moon at 0 degrees of Virgo coming right after this week, right? At the end of the week on the 22nd, 23rd. So it could almost mean everything that's trying to be resolved in the 7th house, the remedy that's in the 7th house sort of distills itself into a chunk of money. And with Uranus in your 5th house, there are quite a few Aquarians who are ready to come into an unexpected financial chunk of money. I can't tell you where it comes from. And that may be evident for you coming up in the next 2 or 3 weeks. All right. So let's go last but not least, and best and always best, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. Pisces, it's a kind of a splinter in your reality as Chiron invaded Aries and gave you a sense of discontent in your money story. This is usually your resources, right? Financially, I can save money, make money, earn money. I have money. I possess money. I possess financial security. And this has been on and off wounded since 2019 for many Pisces. You may not be earning money. You may be spending too much money. You can't save money. Whatever it is, it's there. It's an Artha house story. Sometimes it's a woundedness around your facial appearance, like things on your face that need to be fixed, that are wounded, your teeth, your face, and wounds around dietary habits and styles and eating properly, for example. So this wound has been plaguing some Pisces since 2019, on and off. And now we have a beautiful sky this week ahead, and you're going to feel it like right away, Monday through to Friday, where, the sun is traveling with the asteroid for the solution, Panacea. The remedy is here. The remedy for what ails you financially is work. This is the house of your job. If it's a facial problem or dietary problem, is a health challenge that you've had regarding dietary habits and style, face and teeth and nose and whatever goes on there, then you can find a solution. But the solution is in the house of health, so it could be a healthcare provider. Fated circumstances to do with work and job connected to money is big for you. You've been pushing a boulder up, maybe you've been trying to get a job, you've been doing the job you have, and it feels like, oh my God, this is hard work. Can't get it to roll uphill, can't get it to sustain the momentum. And now you're going to have a remedy and a solution. Because it is a sun in Leo, that's a leader, that's a boss energy, and is a new moon is forming in the next sign, the 7th house, a legal contract on the 22nd. And Mercury is information news. I would expect some frustrated Pisceans to have either an idea to increase their financial wellness connected to work, service, and job energy, or they could come into some money with Jupiter and Venus in the 5th house that takes the weight off of the wound of your work, or the wound of your savings and money generation. Jupiter and Venus here are in really powerful condition in your 5th house. They're still going to offer you the possibility of a blessed lucky strike financially. Or you or your partner in love could do the same thing. If you're mated with somebody, have a lucky financial break occur. But if that's not happening, it won't happen for all of you. It would be a great week with Mercury to apply for a job or to be open to emails and phone calls and texts scouting you out, and maybe connected to people from your past. Mercury was retrograding here for the last while. Now he's direct, but even people you've known, colleagues, coworkers, former people you are employed by, or your employees, even getting in touch from the past and saying, hey, I got a cure for your finances. There's an opening in this business. There's an opening in this job. There's an opening in this whatever. Yeah. So Mars is going through your 8th house of inheritance with asteroid Grieve. A new moon is forming on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, in the house of the sibling. Well, my brain is not working. 3 older than you in sibling order. Money could come through a sibling 3 older than you. It may connect to land, property, real estates, and chunky money, or debts returned to you from other people can fortify your financial gain. If someone owes you money and they've never paid you back, or you want to pay off a credit card or eliminate a debt by declaring bankruptcy, these are some of the remedies occurring for you this week ahead. Your card is ironically spiritual. It's a beautiful success story, a victory energy of the Knight energy, like the rider of the horse, the 6 of Wands. It's really coming to a kind of a conclusion of success. Sometimes you want to rest on your laurels with this, but it's a very auspicious card. Wands belong to fire, so we do see the fire of your money and earnings and job and debt all looking good. This simply means something successful and victorious. We have a laurel wreath on a wand like King Caesar is going to happen for you. You're moving ahead. You're being cheered by the people around you, and you have a success this week in work, money, finance, or health, and breakthrough energy as well. All right. That's a long video. Sometimes I have an outro. I think I've been on here way too long. Do I have anything I want to talk about? Sometimes I have an esoteric topic, I talked about something in my next video for next Monday that I'm going to share with you next Monday, because I recorded that video already because of travel. But in this week's ahead, what kind of vibe do I have going on? There's an old saying, like, when's the last time you danced? When's the last time you learned something new? When's the last time someone else fill it in my comments, danced, learned something new, and something else. And I have to say that old proverb or saying is like all about having a vital spark for life, right? We don't live because we eat healthy foods. We don't live because we are exercising every day. Some of the most high exercise, healthy food people die early, not always, but it's not a guarantee. What keeps us alive are 2 things: our vital spark, right? Like the divine spark within us. The vitality is connected to our soul. And what keeps us alive is our sense of, not alive. We're all, I don't think, I used to do readings. I talked to a lot of dead people in my 30s. I was a psychic medium. I feel like we have exit strategies in life. Have you ever been down like a hallway where there's more than one exit, like red light, like at a movie theater, and you can exit here or here or here, right? In a big movie theater, there might be 3 exit signs in the hall behind the theater. Our life is going down a hallway, a corridor of reality, and there are more than one exit sign. When my mom died, she told me, I think I might have taken the wrong exit. I should have stuck around longer. She got her past life review or something. I don't know, her life review. But in a dream, she told me that I might have bailed too soon. She only 66 when she died, hit by a car. That aside, what I'm trying to say here, it's not about when you die. Your lifeline can tell you that much. Mine goes to like 90 or something, despite the fact I drink wine on the daily, believe it or not. It's about your spark for life. I wanted to address that, because when's the last time you learned something new? When's the last time you danced? I want to learn how to do archery. When's the last time you something else? There's 3 parts to that expression. Fill me in the comments. That's meant to say, do you still have enthusiasm for life? Are you in the game? Are you playing? Or are you like settled and resigned and depressed and melancholic and just trying to get through this thing? Because you do have exit strategies, more than one, but we have a final exit. You can't go past it. At some point, you're out of here. And I'm bringing that up because of my experience last night. My partner and I are in Washington State in a little place called Plain near Leavenworth. And they had a place called, it's a wine cellar. We'll be gone from there by the time you hear this, so no, my stalkers can't come get me. But the wine cellar place, it's like a plain cellars, and it's a vineyard, and they have amazing wine. And they have every Saturday night a band playing. And last night's band was so much fun. They have a dance floor, and I'm surrounded by all these locals. I feel like I'm the person from the outside, and they're so friendly, and they're asking where we're from, and they're chatting us up. And there's young and old and children, all ages, and people are on the dance floor. And I was so on that dance floor. I can barely walk today. I basically got anaerobic and lactic acid from doing like literally aerobics dancing for about not long, half an hour. I waited to the last set kind of thing because the music had been like not really great for dancing. And then it went like really great dancing music. And I'm not even a great dancer. I just need to move my body in my own autistic, proprioceptively awkward way to feel alive. And I've always loved to move my body to music. And people laugh at how bad I am at it because I'm not like the most rhythmically centered person, but it brings me joy. So where in your life, because the sun is in Leo, which amplifies the spark of divine light this week ahead, and the sun activates this energy of remedy and getting rid of the thing you're pushing uphill. It's really hard. I was going to say, I'm encouraging everybody this week as well to lean into that old, when's the last time you learned something new? And learning and education is fifth house energy, which is naturally Leo. When's the last time you danced? That's Leo, fifth house, natural zodiac. And there's a third one, and I can't remember it. I'm just encouraging everybody to find that spark. Life is hard. Life sucks sometimes. It's difficult. Ask anyone who lives in Gaza. It is frigging hard sometimes to be here. I mean, don't even get me going. I mean, I've had the loss of both parents before I was 40 from sudden death. Yeah, it's a game. We are the fool playing in matter. This is spirit in matter. There's lessons to learn, but it's still meant to be approached with some innocence and some wonder. So I'm encouraging us to remember that as the sun is going to go in to the, energetics of a new moon in Virgo, but it's finishing strong at the end of Leo. And it's giving us a lot of excitement, especially with the asteroids involved, especially with the remedy. If anything, I should have started this video by saying, what is the one thing you can do to restore your innocence, your childlike wonder, your awe, and your sense of play and vitality? What is the one thing you can do this week? If you have any ideas in the comments about what you think that might be for you, because you listen to the outro, it could be anything. You're going to go back to horse riding, or you're going to go off to the Ferris wheel because you haven't ridden a Ferris wheel since you were 10, or you're going to do an art project and you're going to go get your paints out of the closet because you haven't touched them for 10 years. What's the one thing you can do to inspire yourself, to inspirit yourself this week ahead, right? Thanks, guys. I love you all. Take care, and like and subscribe, and join me in Sky Reader if you like the idea of learning astrology. This is so blurry. Partly, I think it's bad lighting. Partly, I think it's my camera. I will be getting a new laptop in the next week, and you'll be seeing better quality videos. Thank you. Bye. Ciao, ciao.